I think I made 100% use of the mock portal. This time I maintained an error log. I used to go back to it after every 15 days. When you're actually practicing and you miss a day, and when you come back to it, I think it really hits you that you shouldn't have, missed that day. You get your basics right only when you consciously start applying the techniques that have been taught to you. You should also start timing your prep very early.
Congratulations on the GMAT 685. I've already congratulated you once, but
Yeah.
this is a great score. We're looking at your score report. Quant 94th percentile, verbal
Correct.
91 percentile, and data insight 90th percentile.
Correct.
So, was this the same order of the exam as well? Did you give it in the same order, or was it different?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think from the very start, I've sort of felt a little confident with quant. So I thought even, if I start the exam and I have the exam anxiety, I didn't want, like, I thought I'm better at quant. So I can sort of take that risk. So that's why, like, I practiced all the mocks also in this fashion only.
Right. So a little bit about yourself. You've been working for Zomato and you graduated from Nasimonji, right? So how did this entire idea of doing, I mean, you mentioned to Richa as well that you want to apply for ISB. Now, is that the
Correct.
only aim, or I hope there is more schools that you would like to apply? So how did this MBA journey come into being, and how did you find top 1%? To start a GMAT
Okay.
journey.
Cool. So I'm from like a typical Maru family. So all that I've heard ever since, I had some sense in my brain. It's sort of in my brain that, down the line I have to do something of my own, and which is why initially I did my BSc in economics from NMIMS. Then I joined Zomato. I was in the Bangalore office. Then I recently I left Zomato, and now I've joined my dad's business. I'm looking at sales there. And then while I've been working here, like at my dad's firm, he and I, we both think that, there are some areas that if I get more polished, it'll sort of help us in the long run. So that's sort of, and it's also my subtle way of doing an MBA, something that my father or like people involved in my family business never could do. So this is sort of my way of getting the best there is to learn, and then sort of bouncing back to this. I mean, I'm mainly looking at ISB, but I'm sort of also thinking right now if I should apply to other colleges. Honestly, I mean, I was expecting a little better score, which is why I was, still thinking if I should sort of retake it. And then I did retake the exam and I got the same score. So then I sort of gave up. I was like, okay, cool. I think right now I should just go and apply to sort of ISB. So I spoke to Richa, I spoke to Autry. Both of them said that, right now let's just go ahead and apply. I think score wise, you shouldn't get.
It's
Uh,
really good score with ISB. You can really make it. But again, the point being why you want to do an MBA, that should be more precise for them, because then they would want
mhm.
to know
Correct,
how are you going to be adding value to the college,
correct,
then
correct,
how do you get value from out from the college.
correct,
These are a few things that kind of just need to justify, but it's still very doable with ISB. Uh,
correct.
yeah, so that is not something to you worry about. But if you were to apply to any other school outside India,
Mhm.
what are the schools that are in your mind right now, or if you haven't given?
Uh, I mean, I'm not very sure, but I'm yet to sort of finalize this with Authority as to what are the schools that we are sort of looking at. So I think once I'm done with my round one applications for ISB, then I'm sort of thinking of applying to colleges abroad in, I think, the next round, whichever that is.
Okay, so you still have to work on that. Now, coming
Yeah.
to the GMAT preparation point of view, right? So this was your first attempt, and you got the 685 score. So, would you like to just talk about how did you start your GMAT preparation? What were your weaker areas? What were your strengths when you initially started? And how did you maneuver through the entire course?
Got it. So this wasn't my first attempt. I've taken the exam before, the old edition. and I didn't score very well, which is why I thought I'll sort of do it again. So I think for me, from the very start, the weaker areas were verbal. And then once focused edition came into being, I think data insights. So I think for me, I don't know, because I gave the previous edition also. In my mind, data insights was never really important because you're so used to IR not being important. Uh, so I think these were the two areas, mainly verbal. And during my preparation phase also, I had these cycles. Like I had these phases where my RC would be very good. I would give like 2, 3 hours just to CR. Then after some days, my reading comprehension used to be so bad. I had to give like 3 hours, the entire 3 hour study that I was doing in that day. I had to do it only for RC. So for me, it was a very sort of not so fixed process, and for me it was also a little difficult because I prepared for the previous edition. I don't know what's wrong with me. I remembered most of the questions, so when I was doing it again, it wasn't really practice for me.
Right.
So that's why I sort of practiced a lot. I think test wise, I think I made 100% use of the mock portal. Last time when I gave the exam, I didn't have that much time, so I didn't make use of the mock portal, but I think this time I literally made a point to give each and every test, each and every sectional test, and I think that really sort of helped. Because when you're practicing, you're not really timing yourself, and once the timer starts, that's when you really realize if you're prepared or not. So I think the mocks went a really, really long way in sort of helping me be confident and then finally booking my date.
Right. So, you mentioned that there were questions that you knew the answers to, right? Uh, and when you were trying to go through these questions again, because they are important, they are the official questions
Correct,
as well. How, generally, we say that do not look at the answer option, try to look at the
correct,
approach that you take.
correct, correct,
More importantly, try to see how you're going to eliminate the answer before you.
correct.
So was your approach also the same way? Did you employ any other method? Especially when you're looking at this question the second time or repeated
Correct.
time. Now,
Correct. So I think, Natasha, the last time when I gave the exam, I think now I'm realizing that I wasn't paying enough attention to the basics. So this time, like, I made sure I have to apply Octave. So I did all the material again. Like for CR, I was very sure first find out the conclusion because I was just used to sort of reading it and then getting the answer. So this time I was like, no, you have to look at the conclusion, like how Sandeep sir taught, and then only look at options. So I think I had to sort of consciously apply that. And after once it was ingrained in my brain, then I think I got a little better.
right. So you had to do so basically you were doing basics after you did a good chunk of material, you would say you had to come back again to do the basics.
Not really. So last time, because I like did the entire material, gave my exam, it didn't score well. So this time before starting, like I made sure I have to get my
At the
basics.
beginning itself,
Yes,
that's
yes, I had to get my basics right. And last time I didn't really maintain an error log. This time I maintained an error log. I used to go back to it after every 15 days because those were the questions you were sort of getting wrong again and again. So that's why like I made sure like before my exam, I think last 2, 3 days, I was just looking at the error log. So I think that's really, really important. And now that I've given the exam twice, I can say it with confidence, it's really important.
So, this time when you were preparing for the exam and you made sure everything else is right and you incorporate everything that you left behind or you didn't do the last time, what was the work situation like? Did you by this time had quit Zomato or were you still working with Zomato? Was there any
Uh,
pressure on the professional side of things or were you just focusing on the GMAT exam?
yeah, I mean, there was a lot of pressure. So I was in a client management come sales role. So there was, of course, a lot of pressure. But I sort of made up my mind that minimum 3 hours you have to do. Like some days I've hated doing it, but like I had to do it because I had sort of faltered last time and I didn't want to sort of take any chances. So I think probably I missed like a day or two, but like I made sure I tried to do like 1 hour in the morning, and after I came back from work, I used to do like 2.5 hours. So I think and I think when you're actually practicing and you miss a day and when you come back to it, that's, I think it really hits you that you shouldn't have, missed that day. I mean, in the long, like if you look at it in the broader scheme of things, it shouldn't ideally matter, but it does. Like,
So
uh,
this thing that I'm asking is not a part of the preparation because the preparation would require you to do consistently. But what
correct,
often goes missing out is the motivation to sit and study every
correct,
single day.
correct,
And people will come with full josh. And of course, with Sandeep,
correct,
that josh and philosophy, they will all be aligned for about a week, 1 month, and
correct,
then things start to flip out because uncertainties kick in. So in
correct.
those, with that on the face of it, right? So how did you really put through and push through every single
Mhm.
day, every single week, and stay motivated? Because your journey, if you look back, it's been a
Correct,
slightly longer one. Every
correct.
single day to finally reach to whatever the score that you're looking at to be, which is something that you've accepted, right? How did you manage? What was your personal motivation?
So I think I knew from the very start that I would want to like go to the best college, and I mean, all this while I've already regretted not applying to the YLP and getting into the college already. So I think that was like one of the biggest motivators, and I think we've had, I mean, top 1% team sort of always make sure that we're aware that, people are getting so and so score. So in your head, it's just ingrained that anything less than 99 percentile is not okay, which is why I took so much time to accept my score. Uh, so I think that was a really, really, before joining top, I had heard about top from most of my friends, right? So before joining it, from people who've not joined top, the normal narrative is you get anything above 700, you're good, right? But but like once you do join, any score below 99% doesn't, give you that kick. So I think that's sort of in your head day one. Say you've been told 99% nahi to kuch bhi nahi. So I think that was one of the biggest motivators.
Nice. So, little bit about again deeper into the GMAT preparation. You said about what worked and what did not, and what you made sure that you do this right this time. On the exam day, how was your experience with the focus edition? What was the you said the order was the exact same quant, verbal, and DI. Any question that seemed out of the box or any of probably did you run out of time? Can you run through that experience?
Sure. So, I think the section, like which section I'll attempt first, I had already sort of decided. And here, so I gave the exam in Jaipur only now that I'm here. So it was a very small center, and like the person who sort of facilitates the exam also made sure we're very comfortable, all of that. And then like during my practice phase also, I don't think timing was a problem. Like I always had 10 to 12 minutes in all sections. DI was a little bit problematic. DI may I used to feel that I don't have enough time. So in the last probably 20 days, I finished all the IR marathons because I had to sort of time myself. And I think in the marathons also, it's structured in such a way that initially, I think you've sort of structured it in such a way that initial IR marathons are little easy because people will not sort of practice it a lot. So initially, that sort of gives you a confidence boost. Ki, haan, even if I'm doing it after very long time, it's okay. And then they get difficult. So you actually realize, oh shit, I need to sort of buckle up. So I think IR was a problem in practice, but during exam, I don't think it was a problem, and I don't think there was any sort of topic or question that I felt I couldn't do. In fact, by the time I was ending the exam, I felt that the questions are too easy, which is why I thought I will not score however much I did. But I don't think that was sort of really a problem. Timing wise, also, I don't think I had any issues. Like in the first two sets, I had around 12 minutes to sort of go back and review my question.
Oh, that's a great, good time save, right? So in through your preparation, did you see yourself asking questions in terms of doubts or academic strategy call, and how would you say was it effective through your preparation?
Yeah, so Because I said, right, like after I was done with the material, I used to always sort of send an email. And then I think the thing that makes the doubt solving really helpful is only if you mention what is your thought process behind each and every option. Otherwise, I don't think anyone can sort of help you. So once you sort of, jot down, okay, this is my strategy, this is what I felt, and then the team was really helpful in sort of solving your doubts. And I mean, within like 25 to 40 minutes, I used to get a response. So that also in your head closes the loop. I asked this question, it's fresh in my mind, and I got the answer. So I know, the loop's closed. So I think that was sort of really helpful.
Perfect, perfect. Great. So, again, because you said you also weren't very happy with 685 and you wanted to take another attempt, and did you do any changes in that preparation or, in that attempt? And within how many days did you actually rebook your uh, attempt?
I gave it on the 16th day. Uh, I got the same score. uh, and I think during those 15 days, I was just looking at my error log, and so I had like 2, 3 mocks left. So I was doing that. I did the long sittings. That was more or less what I did. And I just went through the basics.
Okay. So again, when you look back in both of these, what made you think that you could do better in any of the section you felt like, no, when you look back at your score, you were like, yeah, I could have done this better, and that's why you booked the next attempt?
So in all of my top mocks, my score was always above 705,
Oh, wow.
which is yeah,
Yeah.
which is what gave me the confidence to book it again. So when I did give it again, I think I messed up in verbal a little bit. Uh, so then I thought, right now deadlines are coming close, so I should, at least apply to ISB, and then I can, if I want, I can sort of see if I want to give it again.
Okay, that was like a very quick reattempt, you could say.
Yeah.
All right. So, great. And now, if you have to summarize everything that you've done and through your preparation, what would be the quick checklist? It could be that, Chavi's checklist, I could say, CC. You would want any student who's starting out right now. What are the do's and the don'ts?
Okay. So I think do's would be get your basics right. Like even if you have to spend 2 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, just get it right. Uh, and I think you get your basics right only when you consciously start applying the techniques that have been taught to you. I think that's really important. Maintaining an error log is really, really important. And I think once you're sort of done with at least the first set of going like first round of going through the basics, I think you should also start timing your prep very early, because initially whenever the timer used to start, I had this panic in my mind that the timer is going on, I have only this much time to finish. So it did sort of hamper my performance, because I started those timed practices earlier in my preparation. If
Right.
had I done this probably only 10 days before my exam, there was no way I could have scored the score that I got. And I think don'ts would be just to not miss your practice and to not maintain an error log. I think these are the two important things.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much, Chavi, for sharing this. And I think by the end of this year, or let's say a little earlier, we hope to hear the ISB admit. We hope that you really get through whatever school that you would like to apply, truly like to apply. We really hope all the schools that you want to apply, you get an admit, and you should be
Thank
spoiled
you.
for choices. Okay, which one? All right.
Hopefully.
Yes, I think working with Autry will give you that kind of liberty, I would say. But thank you again for choosing Sandeep sir as your mentor to get this, to get your score, to get through this preparation. We hope that you really do very well in life, and we'll
Thank
stay
you.
connected. Thank you so much for joining me
Yeah.
today.